Okay. So I'm going to pull off 3 pieces. I want them to be fairly consistent in size. I could weigh these if I really wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll them into a ball shape, and then what I'm going to do now is begin to kind of change the shape by rolling them on the canvas. My thought is that they would be a little more pointy at the ends and a nice solid attachment at the base where it's attached. Okay, so I'm going to get this a little bit wet and just kind of pinch the clay to more of a point at one end. Okay, we'll try to get all 3 of them like that, and then we'll decide from there. Okay, so that's the basic shape there, and I think once I get them on there, I might twist them around a little bit. So I'm going to flatten the bottom out so they have a nice solid connection point on there. So you can measure these with a ruler. You can kind of eyeball them, but you want them to be as consistent as possible. Being that's on the banding wheel, if I put my finger on there, I can just turn the banding wheel and see where they fall. It seems like they're pretty good right there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark where these go. And I'm going to score, slip, and weld. Okay, so you notice my scoring goes this direction, and the scoring here goes the same direction. Now, when I put these together, I want them to go the same direction. What happens is the scoring becomes almost like little Velcro pieces. The pieces begin to interlock like this, and they become stronger. So that's why we want to score the same direction that we're going to attach them. So my scoring goes that way, so I'm going to attach this right here. Let's weld that on there good. You notice this is on the base, so it's nice and solid. What I'm going to do now is begin working this around and sealing it in. So I'll leave that one for the moment like that, and we'll come back to it after we get these other ones on there.
Right here, that one was, because that right, let's see. That looks good. I'll mark these all right now in case that falls again. Now, I'm fairly confident this is going to work out. If I wasn't sure, I could loosely attach them, take it off to the base, and check it, but I'm pretty confident I can make it work. So for this one, same thing, score. So I don't mind a little extra slip on there. If anything, the extra slip will just ooze out and get wiped off later. Okay, so fix that bump where it fell off of there.
So I want my feet to look like they grew out of the piece, not like they were stuck on there. So I'm going to take my finger and just really kind of, or my thumb in this case, and work them down more. You could also use a tool to help firm them in if you wanted, but for myself, I think my finger is going to work best. So these bowls, this is a assignment where you're coming up with a bowl based on a culture, and I'm half Portuguese, I'm using the Portuguese side of me. And I looked up pottery and found a few different things, but one of the things that really stood out is there's a lot of roosters that they make out of ceramics. They're often used to decorate the kitchen, and so I'm going to do a rooster design on the inside of this. And that's how I'm going to tie it into my culture. Okay, so I'm going to take this now, and carefully, I don't want to put too much pressure. This plaster mold's heavy, but I'm just going to check it. I'm going to set it gently on the table for a moment. Yeah, that's great. So it flattened out the feet just a little bit, which I actually want to happen, but I'm going to add a little twist to these. So I'm going to get them pretty wet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to make the clay kind of twist around. And I will probably have them flare out a little bit more than they are. It seems pretty decent right there, and this one's not twisted enough. Okay, and then once this firms up, I'll adjust those and I'll probably set them on the table and flatten out the bottom where they're going to set. Okay, so that's pretty well attached. I'm going to make some handles while that's still getting firm on the base, and I can already feel it starting to firm up quite a bit. So the plaster pulls moisture out of the clay. And so it's getting leather hard pretty quickly. So these are going to be my handles, and then I'm going to make them more oval like this, and then I'm going to begin just trying to flatten it out like that and curve it around. As symmetrical as possible, but it's not wheel thrown, and so I'm not worried that it's perfectly symmetrical. Okay, I'm going to try taking this off. So to take this off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to very lightly loosen the edge. And then I'm going to just lift it off of the mold, hopefully. There it is. Okay, but I can see that it's changing shape, so I think once I'm done here, I'll put it back on there for a little bit longer. I want to see how this looks here. Actually, I think I like these handles now that I look at them. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so I'll attach those. So I'm going to go ahead and set this back on the mold. We'll clean this rim up in a little bit, but it's still not quite firm enough to do that yet. It's changing shape. It's getting kind of warped, which I don't want. So put it back on there. And then we'll go ahead and attach these handles.
Pretty close. Okay, so once again, I'm going to score where these are attached. Use some slip. I want it just slightly below the rim, just slightly. Okay, so that's there. I'm going to weld it in good now.
And I think I'll use the tool to attach this one here. And we'll go to the other side. All right, so I went ahead and carried the bowl with the plaster mold over to the blow dryer, firm enough to take off. I'm going to go ahead and take the bowl off now. And so it's already been loosened, so it's pretty easy to take off. I'm going to set that down. Move these out of the way. Now I would like this to get more leather hard before I really do too much more with it, so I would probably at this point wrap it in a plastic bag and let it sit overnight, maybe a couple of days, and let that clay just really become a lot more firm and ready to go to the next step or the next part of this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to very carefully, try not to change the shape, get it into my bag. And I'm going to let it sit upside down on the rim. Hopefully that will keep it nice and solid. So this probably isn't going to fit in your locker if you have a partner. So what you'll do is you'll put a sticky note with your name, the date, and the period on it. And you can put it on one of the metal racks. Actually, before you do that, you're going to put it on a wear board. So let me grab a wear board. All right, so my piece is wrapped up. I'm ready to put it away. And so what I'm going to do is I've got it wrapped up. I'm going to get a sticky note. I'm going to write my name. Today's date, which is 10/9/17, and this is period, whatever period it is. I'm going to stick that on there. So what happens is if this sits on the shelf for a week and no one's touched it, I know who to go talk to about it. And if you're done with it, you know, figure out what to do. Anyway, so that'll go on the shelf like this, and I want you to put it on the shelf so you know where it is. Next class, you'll be ready to work on it again, so it'll go like that.